Alright guys, so this was my initial reaction after having watched the movie. What? That's what I said when the movie ended. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, again, the last few videos I've been doing, I've been reviewing 2014 movies that came out months ago, and I'm just getting a chance to watch them now. But anyway, guys, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2014 independent sci-fi drama film, okay? And that is Under the Skin. Now, Under the Skin came out, I believe, sometime in April of 2014. And again, it was released in the release. I did not get a chance to see it. And actually, I didn't hear about this movie right away when it first came out. You know, it took me a while to hear about the movie. You know, when it came out on Blu-ray, and then I started reading up about it, and I said, wow, the movie has been seen by a lot of critics, and a lot of people really been praising the movie. And again, it's one of those limited releases that flew under my radar. You know, we had a lot this year. Locke, Enemy, all these movies, all these really good indies got limited releases, and I'm just watching them now. So Under the Skin is directed by Jonathan Glazer, and it stars Scarlet Johansson in the lead role. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, it's a movie that was absolutely lauded by critics. Critically acclaimed. The critics loved this movie. They loved the messages it was conveying. They absolutely loved Under the Skin. Non-stop praise from the critics. Audience members, few really liked the movie. And again, sort of like with Locke, a lot of people did not care for the movie. And again, this all traces back to, if you're a fan of indies, you're going to like the movie. If you're not going to like this movie because it's independent filmmaking at its finest, okay? So I'm going to get into a review, guys. I'm going to get into my thoughts about the movie. And what I was talking about earlier with the intro was that this is the type of movie where it's definitely open to interpretation. So that's why, right as the movie ended, I was like, what? What is going on here? But anyway, guys, getting into my review for Under the Skin, the first thing I'm going to start talking about is the plot behind the movie. Now, the movie is set in Scotland. I believe it was filmed there. Don't quote me on that, though. And stars Scarlett Johansson as this sort of alien being, or this, like, alien presence, okay? Definitely some being from some other world, okay? And she arrives on Earth and takes the form, or the image, of this very young, appealing, sexy, seductive woman. It's Scarlett Johansson, okay? Scarlett Johansson is playing an alien who took over Scarlett Johansson's body, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I know that didn't come out right, but you get what I mean, okay? Scarlett Johansson's playing an alien, and you see Scarlett Johansson in this movie, and of course, Scarlett Johansson in real life is sexy and seductive. Yes. Anyway, so Scarlett Johansson plays this very sexy, seductive woman who is taken over by this alien. This alien being is using her bodily presence, okay, to look like this sexy, seductive woman. And it goes around, she goes around day by day. She drives around in this truck through the streets of Scotland looking for men that are alone. You know, she'll ask them for directions, she'll ask them a question, she'll get them to go into her truck with her, to which she'll take them to her home, and she'll do these very creepy things to them that I do not want to spoil. That's all I'm going to say, is that she does some really creepy stuff to them once she brings them home, okay? And that is basically what's going on in the first half of the movie. And of course, since Scarlett Johansson is this alien being who just arrived on Earth, she is sort of going to observe everything that's going on around her, because she's obviously not used to a lot of things. And, you know, some things are going to start to make an impression on her. She's going to start to be very curious. She wants to sort of observe everything that's going on and sort of try to become one of, like, the humans. You know, she wants to start acting like them and doing things like them, sort of like merging into our society, okay? And that might end badly for her. So that's all I'm going to say about the plot behind Under the Skin. Now, Under the Skin is one of those movies where the movie is... It has a screenplay, and there are lines of dialogue in the movie between Scarlett Johansson and some of the men she sort of seduces and gets to come with her in her, like, van, okay? But other than that, most of this movie is silence, and there isn't dialogue. there are a lot of scenes of Scarlett Johansson just driving around, or Scarlett Johansson's character staring at something, or emoting at something. And the way that the filmmakers tell the story is through Scarlett Johansson's performance, her mannerisms and everything, and also through the visual images that the filmmakers will put onto the screen for us to observe. That is how they tell a story. And sometimes that really works, and it becomes a success. Other times, it might not. I'm trying to think of a recent example where a movie has done that, but none can come to my mind right at this moment. So anyway, guys, Under the Skin, it's a movie that's gotten a lot of mixed reviews from audience members, but it was lauded by critics, as I said. And it definitely has that independent film feel to it. And I gotta say, guys, even though I don't feel this is a perfect movie, Under the Skin really, really impressed me. This movie hit me as one of the most visually appealing films I've seen in a very long time. And I'm not talking about, like visual, effects, like special effects that are in the movie. I'm talking about the images that the filmmakers put on the screen. They're just mind-blowing. They blow your mind. I'm sitting here watching this movie, 2 scenes in particular. My mouth is just gaping. I'm like, how are they doing this? This is awesome. I've never seen something like this before. Okay, this is a sci-fi independent film that is nowhere near like a sci-fi blockbuster. It takes the concept you'd see in a sci-fi blockbuster, puts its own spin on it, and makes it into an art house sci-fi movie, An art house movie, kind of like Drive or something like that. That's what I'm getting at. And that's what Under the Skin is, and that's one reason why I really liked this movie. It may not have the most original concept, but as the film progresses, you see and you say to yourself, the way it's presented and the way that it's executed, this is definitely an original, creative, inventive, fresh movie, in my opinion. That's why I really loved Under the Skin. Has a really great screenplay with a lot of different messages, even though there's really not that much dialogue in this movie. Now, one thing I'm definitely going to get into right now is the cast. Real quick, guys, I got to get a sip of water. It's just, when you're talking about Scarlett Johansson and how she seduces men, it gets you really thirsty. Okay, guys, anyway, so Scarlett Johansson plays the lead role in this movie. And this is the debut of Scarlett Johansson's skin. All of her skin. If you guys get my drift, okay? Yes, this is her first live-action performance where her character goes nude. And I know a lot of men in particular were looking forward to this. Not saying I was, but it's a good thing. All kidding aside, though, guys. Scarlett Johansson, this was her job in this movie. She needs to come in and play this alien being where she's actually playing herself, but she has to play this alien being who is very quiet. She has to be very quiet and withdrawn. She needs to nail the mannerisms and the emotions, her facial expressions, her reactions on her face. When she's interacting with something on Earth, she needs to nail the perfect expression because she's not expressing her thoughts through dialogue. She's expressing it through facial expressions and emotions. And in my opinion, she absolutely nails that aspect of the movie. She is really good in Under the Skin. She's been on the hot streak lately with Don John, her voicing her, the Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the Avengers. She is really on a hot streak, and I'm really impressed with her because she really impressed me with this movie. Not only did she nail the fact that she had to really accurately nail these mannerisms, but she has to play this sexy, seductive alien who doesn't really say anything. And because she herself is such a very gorgeous appearance. She has such a very gorgeous appearance. She is so seductive and sexy. Her performance is very erotic and very, very sexy, okay? It really gets to you, and you're like, wow, she is so good in this movie. She was excellent. Carried the movie, even though she barely says anything in the movie in most of the key scenes. And that is why she nailed this role, and I was really impressed with her in the movie. Moving on, one thing I thought was really cool, the rest of the actors, there are other men who are in the movie. The men she seduces, here's a fun fact. The scenes where she's talking to the men in her van, there's hidden cameras set up in the van. What the filmmakers did, they literally had her drive around Scotland And she would ask random men these questions and get them into the van, and they would later on, the filmmakers would later on tell them, listen, you're on a hidden camera, would you like to be in this movie we're filming, Under the Skin? And then if they consented, they put them in the movie. If not, they took them out of the movie. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. And I didn't notice that as I was watching the movie, because I'm so drawn into what's going on. And they felt like real actors. And I looked it up online and I found out they weren't real actors, and they were pretty convincing. So that was pretty awesome. I've never seen that done before, and I really like that about this movie. Anyway, guys, getting into my score, Under the Skin is a movie that is so visually dazzling, it just sucks you in and just blows you away. From the very first minute, Scarlett Johansson brings home a man into her home, okay, and tries to seduce him. That's all I want to say, okay? It's a movie that captivates you with its direction from Jonathan Glazer, its performance from Scarlett Johansson, its cinematography, its haunting, eerie score, and very solid writing in regards to its main message and its themes. And for that reason, I'm going to give Under the Skin a solid 9 out of 10. I really like this movie, even though I do have a few flaws here and there. I think this is a pretty solid independent film that is one of the most visually appealing things I've seen in a very long time, okay? Get another water break. Movie reviewing is thirsty work, guys. You always need water, alright? So anyway, again, getting back to Scarlett Johansson, getting to the things I really loved about the movie. Scarlett Johansson's performance, one of the best performances from an actress I've seen of the year so far. She gives a really convincing, natural performance of this very confused alien being who's just trying to fit in and get used to society by the middle and end of the movie. And she really sold her character. She is very seductive, and she played the part excellently, in my opinion. Jonathan Glazer's direction. My goodness, this guy can not only direct a movie in regards to how he sets up each scene and how each shot is set up, but the visual images he puts on the screen. I keep saying visual images because I really want to say what they are, and I really want to say what shots blow you away and what visual presences you see on the screen. I really want to talk about them, but I can't, guys, for the sake of spoilers. So please watch the movie, and you'll understand what I mean by visual images. But those certain images that I'm referring to, captivating. Absolutely mind-blowing. Like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. In my short 18 years, blows me away. So his direction was nearly flawless, in my opinion. The cinematography is some of the best work I've seen all year long. It is the best work I've seen all year long, actually. The shots are not only so well framed, well lit, but when the director wants to go for a wide shot, he goes for it. There is this one wide shot that is still burning an image in my mind. It's this one wide shot of this very big hill. A character's walking down, another character's at the bottom. It goes on for a minute long. It's beautiful. The movie is beautiful to look at in regards to its cinematography, in regards to where it was filmed as well. I love that aspect of the movie. And another thing I must get into, oh my word, the score of this movie is absolutely flawless. It's just perfect. It fits the eerie tone of this movie. The score itself is very dark, and it has this just feel to, it's like no other score I've ever heard before in a movie. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Breathtaking music that you're listening to as these creepy things are going on. As Scarlett Johansson's trying to seduce these men. It's amazing, guys. It really is. And finally, the story. In my opinion, even though there's not much dialogue in the movie, the story still manages to succeed with the messages it was trying to portray, the themes that it was trying to portray. And the fact that the story itself is just so original, and it takes that sci-fi tale, puts a spin on it, does things differently with it, and it's its own type of movie. It's fresh. It just really feels different, original, and unique, and that's what I really loved about the writing. The movie has a really good message about appearance, how we view other people through looks and beauty, okay? And it also has another good message about acceptance and how we may not accept other people due to the way they look, okay? And that's really presented very well at the end of the movie. That's all I want to say about that. And even though the story has flaws, and that's what I'm getting into, those are all the things I loved about the movie. Now, getting into my few flaws, I do have one or two problems with the film. Just a few things that could have been fixed. Namely, the beginning of the third act, where Scarlet Johansson is starting to observe things and trying to interact with things on Earth, okay, and slowly, you know, observing these things. I felt we didn't get enough of that. I felt I wanted to see more of her observing certain things on Earth. You'll get what I mean if you've seen the movie. But I felt we didn't see enough of that. I felt the movie actually could have been longer than it was. It might have bored a little bit had it been longer than hour and 40 minutes, which is its running time. But I wanted it to be a little bit longer in that sense. And the other thing is that even though this movie isn't as confusing as Enemy is, it's more odd and peculiar. This is one of the most peculiar films I've ever seen in my life in regards to what we are watching, okay? It really... There's a part of the movie where, by the end of the film, you say to yourself, I really haven't grasped every single thing that's going on in the movie. It's going to take you a while to grasp all the themes and grasp the main message of the movie. That's why when I finished watching the movie, I said, what? Okay, so that's going to happen as well. But other than that, this is a near-perfect independent film. One of the most peculiar, unique, well-shot, well-scored, directed movies I've seen in a very long time. I loved Under the Skin. I wholeheartedly recommend it to all fans of independent filmmaking. If you're not a fan of independent filmmaking, this movie is not for you. I would not recommend it. But if you do love indie movies, if you love slow movies with not a lot of dialogue, this is your movie. I highly recommend it to all those who love that. So guys, if you've seen Under the Skin, I do recommend you see it. Please let me know what you thought about it down below. And thanks as always for watching, guys. I very much appreciate it. Stay tuned for more movie reviews coming soon. Bye, guys.